Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And yesterday a very interesting few articles came out regarding the potential of CDL expansion into 2022. Certainly seems likely at this point we're going to have at least 4 more teams come in next season. Which organisations are potentially interested and also which personalities might be interested. Key one being DrDisrespect. We've had a lot of discussions, a lot of teasers from him and some other members of the community these last several months. Intrigued to hear your perspective in the comment section below. Where do you believe the expansion team should go? Which teams would you like to see buy and which individuals, of course, as in the case of DrDisrespect. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this was interesting from the Esports Observer yesterday. Valve co-founder Gaben tells New Zealand network News 1 that he's been considering moving the company and hosting Dota 2 and CSGO international events in the country. So New Zealand have obviously done a pretty good job with this situation in the world right now, and well, possibly it could be a way to go to get back to land as soon as possible. Of course, from Activision's side, this would be ridiculously expensive, not probably something that they want to do, probably have a lot of issues in addition to, well, just the base ones about time zones and stuff you could consider. And Activision kind of like to spare every expense anyway, as we're going to look at what Center has to say in a couple of minutes time about this, well, cheating situation and the anti-cheat, which seems to be nowhere to be found as of now. But also from the Esports Observer, COD League Commissioner Joanna Ferries says that she is hearing interest from both North American and European hotbeds concerning areas for team expansions in the league in the future. So very exciting stuff. Of course, last year we imagined we were going to get a Madrid team, right? We thought the Heretics was coming into the league. Supposedly that was on the table before then maybe London came in and, well, the CDL decided we only want 2 European spots. So therefore Heretics and Madrid kind of got pushed out. We've been talking about those guys for quite a while. They've certainly been interested in getting a CDL spot. And if it does expand to 16 teams, one of those spots just has to be outside of North America. And Madrid in Spain, it makes so much sense. They're great players over there. I'm sure the actual Madrid team would actually go down the route of getting a Spanish team, which the Paris Legion clearly has not done this season. Supposedly, like, the Paris Legion were considering getting some French guys on board. They could have had Hydra if they actually, well, got their stuff together in the middle of the 2020 season. They could have got aBeZy on that team. They could have built a competent French team at the very least, and then maybe inspired some French up-and-comers to, well, make it actually good if they know they could potentially compete on the Paris Legion in the future, and as kind of a long-term plan. I do believe that Heretics and Madrid, if they do come into the league, will go down a similar route and try and build the Spanish community to more than it already is. And it's a very exciting community, as well as we saw throughout the Black Ops 4 season when Heretics were very good indeed. So I do imagine Madrid will come if the league does expand. The question is, if the other 3 spots are in North America, which I imagine they will be, which cities would you guys expect them to be in? That, of course, is expecting a 4-team expansion. I mean, I doubt we really expand to any other number that isn't 4, unless we expand all the way to 20 immediately, which seems a bit over the top, right? Because 16 teams is, well, great for a league. 20 teams also works, but like 14, 18 doesn't really work so well. So it seems like it'd probably be 4 to me. And DrDisrespect has been doing a lot of stuff these last several months, hinting at, okay, he wants to own a Call of Duty team, as he says right here, in LA, NDA'd out of my mind. So, well, who knows exactly what's going on here. HECZ was teasing DrDisrespect potentially teaming up with OpTic in this clip that I'm going to share with you guys in a couple of minutes here. But, well, if I was DrDisrespect, I'd want to do something completely on my own, right? I wouldn't want to team up with OpTic and be kind of the face of that brand. I'd say, well, I'm DrDisrespect, man. I can start my own team. I can build my own empire. And instead of teaming up with HECZ, I'd much prefer to compete with him. I don't know. That's just my perspective. I don't imagine he's going to do anything with OpTic, or maybe he'll do something. I don't really know. Who knows what happens over the coming weeks? But yeah, if I was him, I'd want to start my own thing. And the San Diego Speed, I remember, was a name that we talked about several months ago that he might be interested in, well, getting some investors involved and get some management staff on board to, well, run this team and maybe even compete with some of these guys for, well, top tier of professional Call of Duty. Would be very exciting to see a guy like this come into the space. Definitely seems interested to do it one way or another. So as COD Gamepedia point out in this article, they talk about Las Vegas, they talked about DC, and they talk about Charlotte as potential markets for upcoming expansion. So intrigued to hear your perspective, like what cities are you guys from? What cities would you love to see involved? And then, well, where do you think actually makes the most sense given some of the regions that are available right now? It's kind of interesting given that, well, the current teams, they own an area of, like, geography, effectively, by the team that they own. So, for example, Dallas Empire, they own, like, the Dallas space, but they also own, like, the majority of Texas. But yet, because the Houston Outlaws are an Overwatch team owned by a different group, then they don't own the rights to that territory. So they kind of don't have Houston, but they have most other things. So it's a little bit interesting how the whole territorial stuff even works here. And obviously, you've got to think about that when you're making these expansion teams with this geolocation stuff that we're having now in Call of Duty, which is clunky clunky as it is, it's certainly had some positives that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. And if we do get a Madrid team, as they point out, Madrid take my Vamos at COD League, then well, I think we are in a very exciting CDL 2022, as long as we get a decent game, all things considered. And this year, hopefully, even though the league might not still be perfect, the game is probably much better than what we dealt with last year. So I'll share a couple of clips here of HECZ talking about the possibility of, well, DrDisrespect and really other, well, big influencers getting involved in the league.
I think that large personalities, like Tim the Tapman lives in Florida. I think that if I'm Tim, right, you know, obviously he's behind the scenes. I'm sure he's an entrepreneur, businessman. There's a lot of money coming into that household for him not to be expanding into other things. So in that, and I play Warzone nonstop. Like, I don't see a reason why he doesn't reach out to Ben Spoon and is like, yo, I want to own part of your team. Let me be the face of your team. Like, that team immediately becomes so much more valuable and brings so much to the table that it can work for big streamers like that. It could work for DrDisrespect if he wanted to launch a CDL in San Diego. Obviously, he and I have had our own secret conversations, Jake and TacticalRab, and we're not going to talk about them, but guess what? Something is happening.
Really?
No.
Oh.
No, maybe. I don't know. Am I telling the truth, or am I just helping my boys out there to make a good title?
Get Doc over here, bro. That's my boy.
Yeah, bro. I do love Doc.
Doc would be great.
So if you guys didn't follow back in Black Ops 4, this was at the Pro League qualifier, I believe, Pool B, Heretics versus G2 Esports. This is the moment they qualified for the league. Unmatched passion from the guys. And well, it was just incredible to watch. This was such a fun team to keep your eyes on back in the day. And yeah, they were so happy. The Spanish community was so happy. Such passionate fans over there. And it would be so good to see these guys back in the league. It really was a shame that they didn't get a spot in the 12-team league. And well, I do imagine they expand next season. It seems to me so obvious. I mean, what are those shots from Metals, man? I need to get this guy back in the league ASAP. This was such a great team, and G2 was such a team with high expectations on this squad, and well, there was nothing. Let me look at this, man. Like, what an absolute world star of a round right here from these guys. Such entertaining players, and I'm sure there's so many other players in the lower tiers of the Spanish scene kind of waiting to break out. They need those kind of, well, they need that pro team there, the Madrid, whatever it's going to be called, to inspire them, to take them to that next level. And honestly, these players are so good, they could genuinely be competitive. Like, people were talking about Heretics at least being a top 8, top 6 team around that ballpark. Whenever they played the real best of the best, they did kind of struggle. But with a couple of years under their belt and a bit more experience, they could be a very competitive team. The talent is definitely there. And well, I certainly think it's something the CDL have to do. But in terms of North American spots, I'm intrigued to hear your perspective on where exactly you think they should land. This also was very interesting, maybe kind of concerning. Some people were talking about in an interview with Screen Rant, Joanna Ferries, head of Leagues Activision Blizzard, and of course involving the CDL, says they are looking to incorporate Warzone into their competitive plans, and more info is coming soon. There are really exciting things to come as early as this season. There are plans to bring Warzone to the Call of Duty League. We're excited to announce those plans in the coming weeks and months. We've been closely monitoring the introduction and wild popularity of Warzone since last spring. We did bring in Warzone related content with our pros last season, but we've taken the off season to think bigger about what a more structured investment could look like. There are really exciting things to come as early as this season. So I don't know what this means. Maybe it's somewhat concerning. I just hope that they keep this stuff separate to the CDL. Like, the CDL is the CDL. It's competitive Call of Duty on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. But Warzone can certainly have its separate competitive scene with, well, there's some great competitive players on the Warzone side. Of course, Warzone has some major issues right now. The game isn't in the best state, especially due to these cheating situations and, well, the skill-based matchmaking manipulation that a lot of the top players seem to be doing. So there's so many issues with Warzone that I imagine if they do put some sort of structured investment, as they describe, that has to be towards some sort of anti-cheat or something to that effect. And, well, hopefully it doesn't take away anything from the CDL being involved in Black Ops Cold War. But the kind of fact they say to bring Warzone to Call of Duty League, like, what are they going to do? Make it map 3 in a series? Like, I'm not really sure what that even means, but I suppose we'll have to see going forwards. As long as it's just some additional investment and it doesn't take away anything from the COD League, then I'm quite happy to go down this route. And it may well find some new ways to bring fans into the CDL, so it could be a positive if they execute this correctly. But of course, the major concern here is the anti-cheat, right? Not only have we been talking about it from the challenger scene in Call of Duty, maybe even the pro scene, who really knows, but the Warzone side is pretty much an absolute disaster. And as Charlie Intel said yesterday, Activision Blizzard stock hitting an all-time high at over $95 on the Nasdaq and a market cap of $74 billion, so pretty remarkable. And as Doug says, players are competing in challenges to get a $50,000 to $400,000 contract in the COD League, and your stock as a player is defined in your placements in these online tourneys that have literal hackers. There needs to be permanent bans, or we need to play on console, and well, or we just need an actual functioning anti-cheat. Not sure how how easy that is to implement. Probably not very easy at all, but as well, Doug kind of explains his thoughts in this tweet a little bit more clearly right here. But you've got to think if they're doing some sort of structured Warzone investment, this has to be top of mind, and maybe that will help the entirety of the scene, because, well, that's probably the major issue that we've had the unfortunate, situation of having to talk about this last month or so. Just to finish off with this funny thing from one of Octane's burners, the CDL fired you first time kid. We talked about earlier today these new player portraits. This is a funny, very memeable one from Octane, and there's a few others, of good note that I'll leave a link down below again for your viewing pleasure. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.